This is Sports for Real with Coach Hall. Just want to come in and make a few comments about what happened over the weekend in the sports world. First off, I want to start off by saying happy birthday to my older brother. I'll be hollering at him later on that. But as always, when we wish him a happy birthday, I always calling me on mine. But on Friday, the Lakers did the expected. They fired Devin Ham. Ham, who was openly criticized by two of his best players for his performance in the Nuggets series. The fact that he's being criticized is kind of puzzling because he's not the one that's playing. You would think if a guy's not capable of coaching a particular team, it would show up particularly early, like by game 10. Well, by the time you get to the playoffs, you've already played 82 games. And then you make it to game 5 against Denver. So you would think long before then, it would have been evident that this guy can't coach. But what they're doing is passing the buck off on Ham and not taking responsibility for their performance. Basically what I'm saying is a coach is just somebody who puts a general strategy together, but you as a player, you have to adjust on the fly and make necessary adjustments. LeBron James has been doing that for 20 years. Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, he's well enough to make those adjustments himself. But what they're doing is making Ham the scapegoat because they don't want to accept the fact that they've been knocked out of the playoffs by the same team 2 years in a row. But Denver is just a better team. And until the Lakers make some adjustments, get a little bit younger, they're going to continue to lose in the first round to teams like Denver. But speaking of Denver, they got their hands full. As a defending champion, you would think they would be able to defend their home court, especially in the second round. Well, this Minnesota team is something to deal with. Primarily that guard, Anthony Edwards, for the second game in a row, has buried 40 points on his opponents and is causing major problems. Denver, being the better team with the better record and the home court, has already lost one home game. If Edwards is continuing to score 40 points, he's going to be hard to beat along with those Timberwolves, and the Nuggets definitely cannot go down 0-2. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Edwards is going to continue to score, but not quite at the rate that he's scoring right now. And I expect Denver to come back and win that series and maybe 6 games. If it goes 7, it's going to be like all those NBA classics where you have these great series back and forth, then all of a sudden game 7, the home team blows out the other team. That goes back to football. One and done. Either you can play the game or you can't. And I don't think it takes 7 games to determine who the best team is. Why go 6 games just to get to the 7th and get blown out? Make it seem like it's rigged. But that's basketball for you. Like I always say, basketball is just something until football comes back around. And this gives us something to talk about. And this year is even better because you got the Olympics coming up. So once that is over, hey, football camps open up. So it works out just fine for football people. But speaking of football, last night they held that Tom Brady roast. Why he would agree to such thing, I have no idea. Because you know they're going to put out all your personal business, which they did, and they're going to hit you with it. And those comedians, they don't hold back anything. So you know they were talking bad about his wife, and even Bill Belichick got in on the front criticizing his play and such. But the big thing that I want to talk about, I can't roast him because he's been a great player. But a lot of people consider him as the greatest quarterback ever. I disagree. I say he's the winningest quarterback, but as far as the greatest, no. If you are the greatest, that means you can play in any era. I don't think Tom Brady could have played in any era. Don't believe me? Look at some of those highlights when a defender run by him and just brush him, and he start cussing at the official because he should think he should get a flag. He couldn't have got away with that in the 80s. Just imagine him getting hit by, say, a Mike Singletary. You see that hit Singletary put on Peril? Almost killed him? He almost killed him twice. They played Chicago the year before in Chicago. Then that game when they came to Dallas, and he almost killed him again. The same kind of play, he trying to slide, and all of a sudden Singletary come out of nowhere, put a right shoulder him, almost killed him, break him in half. Brady can't take that. Secondly, The receivers running through the middle like there's nothing to worry about today. They couldn't do that back then. Back then, the safety can put a hit on you. So when you combine a guy like Brady, who is getting better as he's maturing as a quarterback, and then the rules coming down, hey man, it's like taking candy from a baby. And you see it continuing now with these quarterbacks. They're putting up these astronomical numbers because they don't have to worry about getting hit very much. And the receivers pretty much running free through the secondary. Hey, they're putting up great numbers and say, hey, look how great this guy is. Is he great, or is that the defense can't play football? I say the defense can't play football. But as far as who the greatest player is, that's a question I think that you can't answer because everybody can't play in every era. Just like I don't think Tom Brady can play in every era. There are a lot of quarterbacks that played back then who couldn't play now. They're not mobile enough. But you do have some quarterbacks, say like a Roger Staubach, which I'm not a Cowboys fan. The guy can throw that football. And when he first came into the league, he was a runner. Take a guy like Randall Cunningham. He had a really rocket arm, and he can run very, very well. He could play or would be outstanding today. Even a journey quarterback like Bobby Douglas from the Bears. He had over 1,000 yards rushing back in the late 60s and early 70s. Even he can survive today. All you have to do is be able to run a little bit and throw some easy passes, no problem. Make a couple $1 million on top of it. But could they have a guy like Brady play back when it was rough and rugged? Terry Bradshaw, he would do well today. You see some of them shots they put on Bradshaw? I don't think Brady can take that. You cry too much when somebody get near him. But as far as taking any credit away from him, I can't do that. I think he's the winningest quarterback of all time with those 7 championships. But as far as the best of all time, I don't think you can put that on anybody. But that's just my take. What say you? Drop a comment, let me know what you think. I'd be glad to debate you on this particular topic. But meanwhile, I got to go to work. This is Sports for Real.